They said, "Where's the paper sack?" Well, that paper sack never made it into evidence. One of the most important pieces of evidence we could have had that day. They just disregarded it. They just threw it away. You see him roll it up and throw it in the passenger side of his car. And I had never thought about that paper sack until very recently. Some things have happened recently, like an email I got from one of the detectives, but I never thought whether it was in evidence or not until I was asked that question a few weeks ago. And no, I did go through and look through all the evidence again, all the pictures I've got from my lawyer and from the law enforcement officers, and the paper sack never made it into evidence. While all of that is going on with Clenin bagging evidence, Detective John David Swartz, like I said, he's kind of looking over in the middle distance, and he mentions that some guy was going to come over. Detective John David Swartz is telling Clenin that some guy was going to come over with magnets, and they were going to look for the missing spent casing with these magnets. And the guy's a civilian. The guy who's coming over with the magnets is a civilian. Clenin and Swartz even talked about for a split second, they talk about should they use a metal detector, but instead they decided to just do the magnets. I don't know how this civilian who's coming over, there were actually 2 civilians who offered magnets, by the way, and 3 law enforcement officers, because you end up finding out in the end that Detective Leonard Cubulus had approved the whole looking for a spent casing with magnets. My point is, how do 5 people, 3 of them being law enforcement officers, one was actually an ex-law enforcement officer, how are they expecting to get brass with a magnet? My thought, again, because I don't trust any of them, is it was a ruse to allow the civilian on scene. I think that's all this really was. I don't think they were really trying to get brass with a magnet. I think this was a ruse for them. For some reason, they needed the civilian on scene. Could be a lot of reasons. I come up with a lot of conspiracy theories when I think about why did they need this particular guy on scene.